Okay, so this is pretty much clear. The moment you make the lead organization wide default as private, what happened, the output, what happened is the logged in user can only see his or her own data. That's it. Okay, now to test it, see, we have to test everything, right? I am expecting whatever I'm doing right now in my screen, you also do the same thing to test it out. What we're gonna do is I'm going to create one more testing user. Rajesh Chatterjee is one user inside the org to test, because the security part is everything that you have to test it by yourself. So I'm gonna go and onboard one more user named, let's say, testing user. You also do the same thing and test it out. Whenever you change this to private or next security, whatever we learn, make sure you go and test it out as the testing user in the other browser. So how do you onboard a new user inside the system? It just a little bit of off topic we are discussing, just to show you how to create a new user. By the way, user has a big user management session. We will talk about that later, but just go here and search user. You have something called users. Open it in a new tab. And if you see, there are only few users are there. Out of this, the second user is nothing but the logged in user. Cool. I'm going to create a new user. Okay, as of now, just do one thing, fill in this detail. Okay, just fill the first name, testing user, and email. I'm going to give my email over here, and the moment you give the email, username will be automatically filled in. Okay, so just give these three things: email, first name, last name, and select here the Salesforce license. Don't worry about this license and all. Okay, I'm going to teach you every single thing that you see in the screen in the user management. So as of now, just make sure you select here user license as Salesforce, and you select here the profile as system admin. No, let's make it standard user. Don't make it system admin. Okay, so standard user, that's it, and click on save. I'll just fill in this detail and quickly save it. Okay, and once you save, you'll get an email, right? You know how to onboard a user. Cool. I have given my email address, and I have just filled in the license. The profile is standard user, role is nothing. Okay, and the first name is testing, last name is user, and if you see, the email address has become my username. If you want to change something in the username, just change it. I just have renamed the username. Now my rename is testinguser@rajeshchatterjee.com. Correct. You can also give whatever username that you want to provide. Make sure your username is unique across the Salesforce database. Okay, click on save. The moment you hit on save button, you will receive an email, okay, inside this email address, because you are now a business user. Testing user, consider it as a business user. Okay, if you have to go to the email and just quickly confirm that email. Let me just go to my email address and show you how it looks like. So this is the email that I have received, and if you see the email, welcome to Salesforce, you understand, right? This is an email I am receiving as a business user. So assume that you as an admin, I mean Rajesh Chatterjee as an admin, have onboarded a business user named testing user. Okay, and the testing user has received this email, and the username I have selected this, right? Testing user@rajeshchatterjee.com. That's my username. And if I click on the verify account, it will just ask me to change my username, my password. Okay, I have given my password and I have selected my security questions. Okay, click on change password. Let me save it in my system. And now if you see, I have logged in into the system as the testing user. Check this out. Testing user. So always remember, this testing user would be a kind of a business user. So whatever I do inside Salesforce, I will make sure I log in as testing user and try to test it out, whatever I built as Rajesh Chatterjee. So Rajesh Chatterjee is the system admin, testing user is the business user. Okay, so I have logged in as a Rajesh Chatterjee in one browser. Okay, and I have opened another a private browser, incognito browser, where I have logged in as the testing user. You get it? So I will do something as Rajesh Chatterjee in one browser, and I will test the same thing logging as testing user in the other browser. Okay, I'll request you also, please do the same thing. Please create another user like how I have shown you to create, and everything that you learn here, please make sure you test it. See, the moment you test it, no, after you build things as an admin, the moment you test it, you will remember the things forever, right? So make sure you build and test everything. Cool. So let me create one thing. Let me just create a new lead as Rajesh Chatterjee. I'll just quickly revise everything that we discussed so far. We were talking about organization wide default, and what we did is we actually went to the sharing setting and we made the organization wide default of lead as private. What does it mean? It means internal users will not be able to see each other's data. And now I'm going to go and test the same thing. Okay, so here I'm going to create a new lead name Peter Parker, okay, as Rajesh, right? Save. Now if you see this particular lead name Peter is a lead, and who created, I mean the created by user is Rajesh, and because there is no assignment rule, right? What is assignment rule? We will learn again in future. Because there is no assignment rule as such in the system, that's why the creator become the owner of the record. So now if I log in as the testing user, and if I try to see the same record, what do you think? Will I be able to see this? Let's go ahead and check it out. By the way, let me show you one more thing here. Salesforce, whenever you create any data, any record, Salesforce will create an ID. Okay, this is the ID. Do you see in my screen? In the URL, the ID is like 00Q. By the way, 00Q is the initial of leads. Okay, if I open accounts, account initial will be different. So whenever you create a new account, Salesforce will automatically create that ID. Let me just quickly create, or I have already created few accounts. Let me just open it. See, this account initial is 001. Do you see this? 001, wherever you find the record ID is 001, remember that's an account ID. All right. So the good thing is, if you copy this particular record ID, I have copied that ID. I will go to my other browser, and here I have logged in as testing user. You see this? And because I have copied the ID, what I can do, I can remove everything after force.com and put that ID and enter. You see, looks like there's a problem. That means I, as the testing user, do not have access to the lead. Now it's not, if you are not able to copy and paste that ID, what you do is simply go to the leads. Because if you click on the lead tab as testing user, and if you change the view, this is the list view, okay, just change it to from recently view to, let's say, all open leads. Now I have so many leads created, by the way, but it is not showing me here because none of the lead that I own. When I say I as a testing user, I might have so many leads created, but the testing user is not the owner of any of those leads. That's why this lead table itself is empty. Is this clear? So now if I'll go back to the Peter Parker, see, this is the lead that I just have created as Rajesh Chatterjee. The same lead, I'll just copy the entire this thing, and I will go here and paste it. You can copy the entire URL. See, there's a problem. That means I don't have access. Now what I'll do is, as testing user, I will create a new lead. Lead name is, let's say, Ellie. Last name is also Ellie. Company something. Save. Now check this out. This lead I just created as testing user, right? I'm gonna go into the other login and see if I'm able to see this. I'll go to this page. This is where I have logged in as Rajesh, right? I'll go to leads and all leads. Do you see here I am able to see the Ali lead? Any reason why? Ideally, I would not be, because this lead is been owned by the testing user, and I have logged in here as Rajesh. So I should not be able to see the data because my organization wide default is private. Why I am able to see this data is because the Rajesh Chatterjee is the system admin. And remember, system admin has access to everything. Okay, so Rajesh Chatterjee is just the system admin. Now you might be thinking, what do you mean by system admin? Don't worry about that. We have a big session called profile where we'll talk about system admin and all. But remember, because you are the admin, that's the reason why I'm not testing it as this user, because admin has access to everything. And that's the reason why I have created another user called testing user, and I'm testing through the testing user. I hope this organization wide default is equal to private story is pretty much clear. All right, I'll go back to the same organization wide default setting and I'll show you the next setting that we have. So the next option that we have is public read only. I think you can guess what does it mean. If you make public read only, that means, save this. Can you please guess what exactly will happen if I make it public read only? I'll go to some leads that is been created by Rajesh. I will open the same Peter Parker lead. This is the lead that Rajesh has created, correct? Rajesh is the admin. Because I have created, I mean the logged in user has created, logged in user can edit, can delete as well, right? Edit, delete is possible. But now I'm going to go to the other window. Look for the same lead name Peter Parker. Can I see? Here we go. I can see not only the Peter Parker, but all the leads that is there in the system. Any reason why as testing user, I'm able to see all the leads in the system? Because the organization wide default is public read only. The moment you make public read only, what happened eventually is every single lead will be available to everybody in a read only mode. What do you mean by read only mode? So let me open this lead called Peter Parker. Check this out. I have logged in as testing user, and this lead, the owner is Rajesh, created by user Rajesh, but still I am able to see the lead. But what if I'll try to edit this lead? Let's say I want to change the lead source and save. See, I got a problem. Oops, you cannot, you don't have the necessary privilege to edit this record. Do you understand what I'm saying? This says that the organization, because the organization wide default, let me go back to other page and show you. The organization wide default of lead is what? Public read only. So anybody, all the internal users can only view every single lead that we have in the lead object, but they cannot edit until and unless they are the owner of that lead. So owner, by the way, the owner has full access. Remember, if the logged in user, if the testing user is the owner of a lead, testing user will have access to everything, that particular record. But other than the owner, everybody else will have read only access, because the default internal access, I made it as read only. I'll go back here and change it to read and write and save. I'm pretty sure that you can guess what's going to happen now. Yeah, I made it public read write. Now I'll go back to the other window and try to save. See, this lead owned by Rajesh, I changed something here. I think I changed the lead source. Again, I'm changing it to something else other. If I click on save, what's going to happen now? Here we go. I'm able to save it. Why the lead which has been owned by Rajesh, I as testing user can save it? Because the organization wide default is what? Is public read and write. This is crystal clear. Okay, the next thing is this. See, again, it's the same person have logged in testing user. Okay, now let's check out the next thing. As of now, we understand what is the importance of the lead owner field, right? Lead owner is the person who has to take care of the lead. Let me give you a scenario. Sometime what happened, the lead owner wants to escalate the lead to someone else. Let's say, Rajesh is the lead owner, but he found that this lead supposed to be taken care by his manager. So he wants to change the owner from Rajesh to someone else. Possible? Or let's say I have logged in as testing user, and I find this lead name Peter Parker is something I can take care of. I as a testing user can take care of. So let me change the ownership from Rajesh to myself. Okay. Now the organization wide default is public read write. So I should be able to change this, right? This is what you are just updating. You, by changing this honor, you are just updating a record. And we just now have seen, right? I changed the lead source to other and I was able to update. Now let me show you this. Can you as a testing user update the honor? Let's go and try it. See, I'm trying to change the ownership from Rajesh to testing user. Change honor, you got an error. You do not have permission to take this action on this record or the related record. What is the reason? This is the reason. The reason is, if I go back to the sharing setting, check this out. The organization wide default of lead is still public read write. We have the fourth option, which is called public read write and transfer. The moment you change it to public read write and transfer and save, transfer means you can change the ownership from one person to another person. Now I will go back to the other page and try to change the owner. Here we go. I was able to change the ownership from Rajesh to testing user. Okay, this is clear. So that's the difference between public read write and public read write transfer. Public read write means anybody in this org, as an internal user in this org can not only view but also edit the data. Public read write transfer means they can not only view, edit, but also they can change the ownership or they can transfer the lead from one user to another user. Is this clear? See, one more thing I have to tell you. If you are testing the same feature, transfer feature, let's say you are making it private, you can do this and don't get confused. Okay, let me just show you this. See, I made it public read write as it takes some time to get updated. Okay, this is now updated to public read and write. Now, can I change the ownership back to Rajesh Chatterjee? This lead named Peter Parker, right? It is testing user. Rajesh, I have logged in as Rajesh here. Okay. After logging as Rajesh, this particular record, which again I only created, testing user changed the ownership from testing user to from Rajesh Chatterjee to testing user. Correct. Now what I did is I made the organization wide default back to public read and write. Now I want to ask a question. Do you think I would be able to change this ownership? My organization wide default is still public read write, not public read write transfer. So do you think I as Rajesh Chatterjee will be able to change this ownership from testing user to someone else? Can I do it? Yes or no? Let me see whatever you're thinking is correct or wrong. Let me change this. I'm going to change this from testing user to back to Rajesh Chatterjee, change honor. See, I'm able to change it. Why? Rajesh Chatterjee is the system admin and the system admin has the magic stick, right? He can do anything you want. So as a system admin, do not test anything as a system admin. System admin can do anything. Okay. So whenever you want to test it, make sure you do the configuration as your user, right? Like how I'm doing it as a Rajesh Chatterjee, and make sure you test everything as the testing user. Okay. This is how we can test. Okay. So organization wide default is crystal clear so far. You know what is default external access? Default external access is this. Salesforce has a different product. The product is Community Cloud. We are definitely going to explore the Community Cloud. It's a big chapter basically in a different session. So what is community cloud? And I'm just giving you a gist, okay, just to understand the default internal access. Suppose this is my business scenario. My customer has, suppose, thousands of their dealers. Who's dealer? For an example, let's say there's a customer who is actually manufacturing something like desktop monitor, suppose, and they have so many dealers. Okay, and the dealer's job is to sell that. They are basically the channel partners, right? Now this customer, the who actually is manufacturing the monitor, the desktop monitor, wants to implement Salesforce. They have, suppose, thousands of dealers, right? They have to onboard all 1,000 users inside the Salesforce org. We will also see one more thing in Salesforce called the license and the pricing. You know what, Salesforce is a bit costly, and definitely to onboard thousands of dealer, it will take so much of money for the customer to buy the license for all these 1,000 users. Got it? So license cost is too much, okay, in Salesforce. So for that, Salesforce comes up with something called community cloud, where the license cost is little cheap, and customer can onboard thousands or lakhs of dealers or any other external users. These are the external user. We will talk in detail about this things in the community cloud session, but these are basically the external users, not the internal users. All the community users, for an example. So the external access you can also drive through this external default external access. Okay, if you click on the edit button, let me show you this. See, if you click on the edit button, you can actually change all these external access also. External access refer to the community users or all the external user, not the internal users. Internal users are the user, like the testing user, how you have onboarded, right? That's the internal users. All right. So next video, we're gonna see how can we extend that organization wide default private feature. Okay. See you in the next video.